Hello, everybody. It's your man, White Wolf, and I'm hoping everybody has an amazing and blessed day. Welcome back to another exciting training session. Today, we dive deep into emotional development. Today's episode: Overcoming Guilt. So, let's first go ahead and actually describe what is guilt. If you type in the word guilt into Google search along with the definition, you get the fact of having committed a specified or implied offense or crime. How I like to think of guilt in the definition I use: guilt is the negative vibrations we feel, whether it be our body, mind, or emotions, that are caused from us putting out thoughts, words, feelings, actions that reflect to us we are going against our moral compass, we are going against our better judgment, we are taking ourselves out of alignment. Guilt is that knowing that we've done something to take us out of alignment and that we need to do something in order to apologize, to rectify the situation, to make amends, to bring ourselves back into alignment through honest intent, through facing our fears, through showing from our hearts that we have learned our lesson. In my opinion, the secret to overcoming guilt is self-love. Now, self-love has many different interpretations nowadays, so let's really dive into this. When I'm saying self-love, what we must do first is look at our actions, look at our behaviors, look at our words, look at our thoughts, look at our choices, look at our habits. We need to take a moral inventory of ourselves and really acknowledge how we feel about ourselves, whether that be anger, whether that be hatred, whether that be disgust. We have to be real with ourselves. And then we have to recognize that we are worthy, that we deserve to make the choices that we make so we can respect ourselves. Make the choices that show us that our beliefs, our values that we hold, that we follow them, that they have meaning because we are choosing to represent them in our daily lives, in every form of our thoughts, emotions, words, actions, habits. That being said, anybody who is struggling with self-love, I highly suggest that you check out the book Love Yourself Like Your Life Depends on It by Kamal Ravikant. This book is also an audio book, so you can also listen to it. It's so transformative. This book has personally helped save my own life. Because a lot of times, once we do things that make us guilty and we start feeding off of it, we will create so much hatred of ourselves. We will think that we don't deserve anything, that we deserve every type of bad thing under the sun to happen to us. Let me go into my past a little bit. When I had returned from Afghanistan, I had created a lot of blockages inside of myself. I had developed a lot of negative feelings from different experiences I had while I was over there. Something I was guilty about, or I felt very guilty about, was before I left. Well, right as soon as I left, I found out that my ex-wife, my wife at the time, was pregnant. And I wasn't able to really support her during the pregnancy. And I missed the birthing of my son. And so when I came back, it was like fresh baby. And I'm like new father. And I'm just like, oh. But I had a level of resentment towards myself for not being able to be there to support her. And I let that kind of add to the already pools of guilt and different levels of emotions I had developed while I was over there. And so as time kept moving forward, I started drinking more heavily. I started watching more and more pornography. And to a point, it started becoming ridiculous. After some time moving to a new duty station, never facing my emotions and allowing these toxic behaviors to continue to build, I had a major event where I, the NCO at the time, was in charge of a small crew, and we had watched some strikers overnight. There was a problem with logistics, and we've all been drinking. Everybody in the whole platoon's been drinking. That was the cool thing about side missions in Germany. But me, supposed to be the responsible one, I was in charge to watch these vehicles overnight with my small little group of men. And what took place over that night was something that is not fitting of an NCO. It was a lot of partying, a lot of different elements. And by the end of the night, when it was time to pick up the vehicles, we were able to get them picked up. Everything was completed. But when our ride had showed up, I was not present. I was cheating on my wife at the time, and nobody knew where I was. And so when I came back, it turned into a thing. It turned into a whole type of it turned into an issue. I had investigations started on me, and nobody knew what had happened. Only I knew what happened. And then when I got back to the office, and I basically just pleaded the fifth. When I made it back home, because that drive was long, and I had much time to think, the amount of guilt that washed over me like a flood was so heavy. When I finally made it back home, I told my wife everything that I did. I came clean. I was truthful about what had happened and what I did. And it took me to really start looking at my behavior of the alcohol, of the porn, and how it just accumulated to this point. So I started, and I went through the Army program of substance abuse prevention and overcoming, and through that, I ended up going to a 6-week intensive care inpatient facility in Longstool. And that was a very transformative experience where I started really looking at different sides of myself, really starting to take a moral inventory on a whole new level. This is the first time that they showed me the mirror technique, which check out the book that I suggested earlier to learn about the mirror technique. It's crazy how when you look yourself in the eyes and you have to be honest, what comes up? But inside myself, I started feeling better a little bit at a time. I knew that I was taking the steps to do better, to be the man that I always imagined myself. Not the man who lost control of his urges, who was consumed by lustful thoughts. I knew I was so much more. And taking the steps, no matter how difficult it was, helped me to really start to transform my guilt and to allow myself to start to really love myself. But here's the thing, just like everything, forgiveness, self-love, truth, honesty, letting go, it's all a practice. It is a continuous practice. What you don't use, you lose. So, after a year of doing pretty good, I wasn't drinking, I wasn't watching porn as much. I started going backwards. I started allowing certain concepts back into my mind, certain ways. And it was just a spiral. It's surprising how fast you go downwards. The program that I went to was a good program. But the important thing that I really want everybody to understand is that there's so many different methods of improving and understanding yourself. And it's really finding the right one. At that time, I did not find the right way to give me the proper understanding I needed. And I started slipping back into a lot of old patterns and beliefs. I stopped caring. I thought I had overcome. I was like, I'm good. I can go back to drinking and watching porn and yeah. And when you live a life of an infantryman, there's a certain type of ideology that gets spread amongst each other. And you can't drink the Kool-Aid. Me at the time, I drank the Kool-Aid. And so I started doing drinking, porn, and it kept growing. And then I realized, or I had another major incident. I was off with the platoon on another mission. And this one was just it was more like a weird vacation mission. It was so weird. We weren't doing our intensive training like we normally did. It was just like a presence type of thing in one of these foreign countries. And I was hanging around my boys, and we were just drinking, having a good time. And this is where I got introduced to massage parlors. And so during that time, I had gotten a massage with a certain type of ending. And it set me down a road that I was not proud of. The thing about these short term pleasures is that they can be a rush, like the biggest freaking adrenaline rush you could imagine. But afterwards, the amount of guilt, the amount of heaviness you feel in your spirit is crushing. And so after this event, this time, instead of coming clean to my wife at the time, I kept it a secret. Kept it a secret, time moved forward. And now, porn wasn't enough. And so, there were a number of instances of massage parlors. The guilt just kept building and building and building. I was so disgusted with myself. All my values and morals seemed to be nothing. Things just seemed so meaningless. But one day, I came across Sadhguru on the TV. And that was the moment my entire life changed. Something about hearing him talk, listening to him, it made so much sense to me. It started to help me to look further, to really look further, to start to ask different questions. And that was the moment I really started to work on myself in a different way. I started taking the actions, meaningful actions, not for anybody else, not for my ex-wife, not for what people thought of me, but because I finally started to realize that there was something more to me. That how I want to feel about myself and how I envisioned myself and who I knew I was. I wanted that. I really was so fired up because now it was like my world was expanding in such a way that I couldn't even comprehend it. But I knew that God had set me someone to guide me. At that time, I could even call God God. I had called him a higher power. And I knew that the universe was leading me. And so, taking those steps, listening to Sadhguru, doing different practices, slowly starting to understand energy, understanding that everything that I was watching on my phone, every bikini video, all these girls jumping around, all this other stuff, it was adding to the fire of lust. And cutting those things away, taking the necessary steps to take them away more and more. Because trust, my wife would always complain to me about watching porn. And it was a big issue. And I would lie and pretend like I was doing better, but I wasn't until I found Sadhguru, and I didn't care what she thought. I wasn't doing this for her. I finally started doing it for myself. And that's another thing. You can't make any transformation based off other people. You have to do these things because you understand that you want something more, that you want something better for yourself. Kind of weigh the energy little by little. Same thing with the drinking. Well, actually, what helped me out with the drinking was learning how to meditate. This is why I say practice that first meditation. Understand what the process of meditation is. Because at first, it feels so insignificant, the way it affects you. But as you keep practicing more and more and more, you start to really understand how everything's affecting you. What made me was I finally got to a point in my meditation where when I drank, I could feel that I was cutting off my universal connection. I could just feel it in myself. And I was sad and I missed it. And I was like, oh, no. No, that ain't happening. And now I don't even care about drinking because my meditation is so freaking deep. It is deep. It just keeps getting deeper. And it's amazing. That's why everybody, you should practice meditation in whatever form you feel called to. Going back though. As I kept working on myself and doing different things that made me proud of myself, that made me respect myself, it took many, many, many months of being consistent, of proving to myself over and over and over again that I was finally done going to these massage parlors, that I was finally over it for no one else but myself. I was finally done. And so I was able to sit my wife back down. And this was the moment where I could tell my third eye just exploded open. Because sitting her down 100% sober and coming clean, being truthful about everything that I was doing over the years, and having a level of acceptance. It was a very powerful moment. It was a heartbreaking moment. When we take the steps to overcome our guilt, it doesn't take away the things that we've done. But to overcome that guilt is to take those steps to know that you're worth it. That you want to bury yourself because of you. And in that moment, I just felt so much more. It was a lot of feelings. It was a lot. It was a lot of energy. My forehead was hurting a lot. It was like the biggest headache I've ever gotten. But it was so freeing. And I really respected myself, no matter what anybody says or what anybody thinks of me. I will never regret that moment. I am so grateful to know that I was honest. I look back on it and I'm just like, those secrets that I thought I was going to take to my grave. That's usually a big indicator that you need to release something. when you have certain secrets that you're willing to take to your grave. Those are the things that we need to release. And so, those were kind of the biggest moments of guilt that I had in my life. Because nowadays, I don't let guilt in. It's crazy how you transform, that you instantly start to recognize certain energies and you're just like, no, I'm not even having that around me. I'm not even letting that in anymore. I'm not even playing those games. Guilt being one of them. Because I love myself now. I love, no one's perfect. This journey has had many ups and downs. But for where I was to where I am now, I'm so fucking proud of myself. I'm just so happy to be here now where I'm at. And so I hope that helps us understand that as we start to open up and overcome these emotions, one, they're pretty intertwined amongst each other. But two, it's a journey. It's a process. There's going to be lots of different elements. There's going to be some hard times, some sad times, some crying times, but also some of the most beautiful times. Some of the most amazing times. Some of the experiences are just unable to even be described into words. And it's starting to trust yourself, to really love yourself, to know that you deserve it. You deserve to make those better choices. You are worthy. You're worthy of a beautiful life. You're worthy of all your dreams, all your gifts. You're worthy to dive into them and to bring your creativity and imagination into life, into this world, for everybody to see. My brothers and sisters in this human experience, you are divine. And it just takes you to start to think, could that really be true? To open up a whole new pathway, a whole new set of doors that are going to take you on a crazy, beautiful journey that will shatter every expectation, every type of concept that you ever thought. Because there is so much more to all of us. And you're worth it. You are worth it every step of the way. So, this is going to conclude our training session for today. The key takeaway: we overcome guilt with self-love. The type of self-love that brings you closer to that ideal version of you that you know you are. That being said, thank you everybody for sticking around to the end. I hope everybody was able to learn something. Go ahead, head over to the Stand store, type in White Wolf 719, and download our free Warriors of Light leveling guide. This leveling guide is going to help you get from level 1 to level 2 to level 3. At level 3, you already at that point. You're walking your purpose. You're starting to see, know, believe, feel every aspect of that vision of you that you have. You have a connection with God, a real connection that nobody can question, that nobody can tear down. Also, go ahead, type in or check out the Warriors of Light podcast. I got some predictions in there about some things that we need to take care of sooner rather than later. but also some good knowledge, some good stories, some moral values, all that type of stuff that we're always talking about to help us get to the next level. So check that out. And finally, just remember that God is always with you. When we're going through the hard times, God is with us in so many different amazing ways that you won't even believe it. But just try your best. No matter if you feel beaten down and that you're just hopeless, just keep trying your best, because God is going to show up if you believe, if you have faith, if you know in your heart and your soul that you got this, that you're here because God put you here, and that you will not fail because God gave you a mission that only you can do. So have faith, always, no matter how it looks, have faith. And until the next exciting training episode, everybody, remember you're divine. And have a beautiful and blessed rest of your day, rest of your week, rest of your month. Peace.